So when all this started, they threw out some possible dates that it might all be over or that restrictions would be lifted. And ultimately they said April 30th. And now we just hear they're going to push that to May 8th. But who knows? Who knows how many restrictions will be lifted May 8th? Who knows how long it will go on? That's part of our frustration, isn't it? But I'd have you ponder this. Even if I could choose a date on here and know without a doubt that this is the date when it's over, nothing else left. Let's go all the way to July. We go all the way to July, and let's say that I just say that finally July 9th. It's done, it's over. The question I'd have you ponder is this: what happens on July 10th? How will you leave all of this and enter into that day, July 10th? How will you be different? How will you see things, view things differently? What will you have learned from all of this? Calendars, time. You know, a long time ago, they used to measure time through an hourglass. This little video post is going to go on until this runs out of sand. I'm just kidding. But you could measure an hour just by watching the sand fall from here down to there. I kind of like that. It reminds me that time is always ticking. But I also like a good old-fashioned calendar. I miss that on my phone. I look at my phone, it tells me the time, it tells me the date, but it doesn't give me the perspective. You ever think about life this way? That we are, and let me get to the actual date. Let me go back to the day that we are in today. We are in April. We are in April 21st. And so when you woke up this morning, you had left this box of the 20th, and you entered into a new box, the 21st. Or if you will, you entered into a new room of your life. And we will spend the next 24 hours in this room doing things, yes, different than normal, but busying ourselves with many different things. We'll make phone calls, we'll do text, we'll have conversations with different people in our family. But for 24 hours, we are in this room. Then at 12 o'clock tonight, possibly while most of us are sleeping, we will enter into another room. Another 24 hours where we will spend our life. And so it goes. One room after another room after another room. And then one day that I don't know and that you don't know, we will enter into a room, assuming that we have 24 hours, but this room is different. There's no door to exit out of, at least to the next room here on earth. Because that's the day that the Lord will say, your soul is required of you. I don't know what day that will be for me or for you. But it does cause me to wonder, how should I spend my time? Going back to the question I asked, if I could pick out the one day that this is finally over, the question I'd have you ponder is, how will you spend the next day? There is a Bible verse that we're very familiar with, Psalm 118, verse 24. This is the day which the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. I fear that if you're like me, I keep looking at some future room, some future date, saying, if I can't wait till we get there and life can resume back to normal. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Not in that box, not in that room, but in it. This is the day God has given to us to rejoice, to be glad. And so what can you do in these 24 hours, this room that you're in, and say, this is the day God has given to me. Let us rejoice in it. Let us be glad in it. And it begins by recognizing that Jesus is in that room with us. Just as he was in a locked room filled with fear with the disciples, and he said to them, peace be with you. That's what enables me in this room, these 24 hours called today, to be able to rejoice and be glad in it because Christ is there in it. Over the next few days, I'd like to share some posts with you via video on how we might spend that day, live in that room, those 24 hours, in a more joyful, abundant way. Tomorrow, I just have you think about this. A year from now, what will you remember about everything that has gone on? A year from now, what is it that you don't want to forget that you've learned from this? A year from now, what is it that you want others to remember, your children, your grandchildren? I'd like to talk to you about a meaningful way to invest ourselves that we don't forget the lessons that God has given to us in this day. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Amen.